Everyone knows that filmmakers always need a good monitor, but for me, I don't always use them, so getting one that is good when you need it, but won't break the bank always kind of helps, and one great option is going to be the Andycine T6. They sent me this monitor recently, and I feel like this 6-inch monitor is just about the perfect size. I've always kind of said that 7-inch monitors on something like a DSLR style mirrorless camera is like kind of overkill. It's bigger than the entire camera, but I am starting to feel that 5 inches doesn't quite cut it as well. So honestly, this 6-inch size has been kind of perfect. It's a full 1920 by 1080, and it's a really clean 1080 image too, which is always a little bit hit and miss until you actually get these things in your hands. The T6 also comes with pretty much every menu item and feature you would expect at this price point for a modern camera monitor, but we can talk about the menu items and that stuff a little bit later. For now, let's get into what's actually included in the box and some of the general build and handling options. So it comes in that classic red Andycine zipped up hard case bag thing. It works really well, to be honest, and it's really packed in a ton of little accessories, cables, mounting options, and a NPF battery. So besides an HDMI cable, you've got pretty much everything you're gonna need to attach this to your camera and start filming right out of the box. Usually these things require you to buy a few additional little things, so that's pretty nice. The monitor itself is pretty lightweight, not the most premium feeling, I'm not gonna lie, but it's the trade-off you pay for keeping the weight down, and this thing is legitimately light. Why did I say legitimately like this? Anyway, I was using it mostly on the GH7 with the big Leica zoom lenses, no other accessories, cages, anything like that, and it felt like it barely added any weight to that setup, which is nice because that setup's already a little bit heavy, and some monitors out there, like people using the Ninja for a camera monitor and not even a recorder, is crazy because that thing is like more than some cameras that people are using it on. And of course, we have a ton of the custom buttons, menu, navigation buttons, HDMI in and out, which is really important for me. Some extra DC, USB-C headphone port that I don't use as much, but are nice to have. And the handy dandy NPF battery attachment on back for that included battery, or any batteries you might have. I've literally got one right here. So if you're like me, you've got a ton of these already laying around if that single battery it comes with doesn't really work for you, or if that single battery it comes with isn't, you know, enough for really long shoot days. And of course, we got a couple 1/4-20 mounting options, which is always nice if you're ever forced to shoot vertical or you just want to mount it in a slightly different way. I love having tons of custom function buttons on all kinds of stuff, my camera and my monitors as well. So I can, you know, live crop into an image, turn on false color, or basically whatever there is on the menu option, you can assign it to one of these buttons. So that's actually really, really nice. So I know I'm saying a lot of positive things because this is a legitimately decent monitor for the price, but I want to say something that did throw me off a little bit, which is, while the buttons are great, I love the customizability, this is not a touchscreen monitor. So if you really love touchscreens, that's probably gonna be a hang up for you. For me, it wasn't a big deal. I'm fine using the buttons for the menu navigation, even though sometimes I hit up instead of down and down instead of up. But yeah, if you're a huge touchscreen person, this might be a little tricky to just use buttons to navigate it. So I think that's one reason this thing is so relatively affordable. So yeah, just something I wanted to point out before we moved past this segment. Another great accessory included here is the really great sun hood. So it's got a little Velcro thing you kind of snap onto the monitor, and then the sun hood actually attaches to that, so you can take them both off, leave one on for easy access. And this is gonna be really handy when going outside, especially in direct sunlight. The nits are rated for only about 450, so not the brightest monitor in the world, but with direct sunlight and that hood, you should be fine. And in the shade or indoors, you should be good. I'd say, you know, 400 to 500 is just about good enough for like shaded outdoor stuff. And with the hood, like I said, I think you'll be all right. I didn't have any problem shooting this on a few weddings recently, so yeah. I've got some monitors with some insane nit counts, and sometimes the image quality suffers when it comes to actual sharpness. And honestly, I have them almost always turned down to at least half or lower. So yeah, As far as the menu, we have, of course, a few color and brightness and other setting adjustments, language, stuff like that. But when it comes to monitoring, we've got exposure, framing guide, anamorphic squeezes and de-squeezes, peaking, all kinds of tools for videographers and cinematographers. I can't go over them all here, but if you think it has it, it probably does. So just let me know if you want me to check on something, and I'll go ahead and look into that for you. So comment that down below. I especially like the built-in LUTs because I do a lot of creative workarounds and workflow things with my Lumix cameras, and sometimes that needs a viewing LUT. So I can't assign that in camera for certain modes, but having that on a monitor solves that problem pretty easily. Yeah, and there's just so much in this menu. I think they really nailed it, and it's very typical of a lot of Andycine monitors with just different build quality and screen size and all that sort of thing. And yeah, that's really the basic overview of this new monitor. They just keep making these screens bigger and better, and it really looks amazing for focus, especially if you're using this in like a studio or like a controlled outdoor setting. The resolution and detail of this monitor is really great, and the price is great as well. I remember how expensive very mediocre monitors used to be back in the day, and it just makes me think of how far we've come with technology as filmmakers and how accessible this all is, and this is definitely accessible. So anyway, if you have any questions about this monitor, comments, concerns, anything like that, please let me know. Please let me know it down in the comments, and I will see you when I see you, but only if you subscribe. Don't let the YouTube algorithm control what you watch. Subscribe to people you want to see more videos of theirs. It's the only way that YouTube's really gonna know to pay attention to certain people making good content. This is such a weird rant. I'm cutting this for sure. Or am I?